So let's talk about one of the biggest challenges in AI today. Its little habit of, well, making things up. We're going to dive into a really powerful technique that can transform AI from a creative but kinda unreliable guesser into a research assistant you can actually trust. One that knows the answers because it's seen the receipts.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You ask an AI a pretty simple question, and it gives you this super confident answer that is just completely, totally wrong. They call this hallucination, and it's a massive hurdle. It's the main reason we still hesitate to trust AI with jobs where getting it right is everything. But what if we could flip that script? This quote right here, it just nails the goal. Imagine an AI that doesn't just invent stuff, but actually grounds its answers in real, verifiable sources, and even gives you the citations to prove it. That right there is the core promise of the technology we're going to break down today.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll get into why AIs have this guesswork problem in the first place. Then we'll meet the solution, a little something called RAG. We'll peek under the hood to see how it works with a team of AI agents, walk through building a real example, and then tackle a huge question. How do we know if the answers are any good? And finally, we'll talk about what this all means for the future.
All right, first up, the AI guesswork problem. So at their heart, these big AI models, or LLMs, are basically just incredibly sophisticated pattern matching machines. They've learned from a huge but totally static snapshot of the internet. That means they can't look up new information, and they don't really know facts. They're just predicting the next most logical word, which, as you can imagine, sometimes leads them to create plausible sounding but completely made-up nonsense.
So, how do we fix this guessing game? Well, that brings us to a technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. Seriously, just think of it as giving our AI receipts, verifiable proof for everything it says.
Okay, so here's the official definition, but I like to think of it this way. RAG basically gives an LLM an open book test instead of a closed book one. Before it even tries to answer you, the AI first goes and retrieves the relevant facts from a specific trusted knowledge base, say a folder of research papers or your company's internal documents. Then, it uses only that information to put together its answer. And this is where it gets really cool, because RAG is basically a team of two. First up, you've got the retriever. This is your expert librarian. Its only job is to sift through all that knowledge and pull out the exact passages that are relevant to your question. Then, it hands those off to its partner, the generator. The generator is a smart synthesizer. It takes those sources from the retriever and crafts a perfect, human-like answer based exclusively on what it was just given. No more guesswork.
Right, so this idea of a team, that's where things get super powerful. Instead of trying to build one giant do-it-all program, modern RAG systems are often built using these specialized AI agents that all work together. And you gotta understand, this is a huge shift in how we think about building these AI apps. We can literally create one agent that's a genius at finding data, another that's a master at writing up the results, and hey, maybe even a third agent whose only job is to fact-check the final output. They collaborate, each one playing to its strengths.
But how do you get all these different agents to work as a team without it turning into total chaos? Well, that's where a framework like Crew AI comes in. You can think of Crew AI as the project manager for your AI team. It helps you define exactly what each agent does, it orchestrates the whole workflow, and it makes sure they can all share information and context to get complex jobs done. Okay, so theory is one thing, but let's get our hands dirty and see how this actually works in the real world. We're going to walk through the main steps for building that awesome research paper assistant we've been talking about.
The whole process really boils down to 5 key steps. First, you've got to ingest the documents. Feed the PDFs into the system. Next, you break them up or chunk them into smaller, digestible pieces. Then comes the magic part. Those chunks get embedded and stored in a special database. So now when you ask a question, the system can retrieve the most relevant chunks and, finally, it hands that context over to the AI to generate a solid, grounded answer.
And I really want to zero in on this middle part, the embedding. This is the secret sauce. By turning chunks of text into numbers or vectors, the AI can search for things based on their meaning, not just keywords. This is huge. It means the system can find passages that are conceptually related to your question, even if they don't use the exact same words. It's just a much, much smarter way to find information.
And what this chart shows us, which is so important, is that there's no single right way to build a RAG system. I mean, look at this. Our two source tutorials build pretty much the same app, but they use a totally different set of tools. One uses Crew AI and OpenAI, the other uses custom code and Google's Gemini. The big takeaway here is that the core ideas behind RAG are super flexible. Developers can mix and match different components to get the job done.
Okay, awesome. We've built our RAG assistant. We're done, right? Not so fast. How do we actually know if it's any good? Building the system is only half the battle. We absolutely have to figure out how to evaluate its answers.
To do that, we need some solid metrics, and these 4 are critical. First and foremost, you've got groundedness. I mean, this is the whole point of RAG, right? Is the answer actually coming from the sources? But that's not enough. We also need coherence and fluency, so the answer is logical and easy to read. And finally, instruction following. Did it actually do what you asked? A truly trustworthy AI has to nail all 4 of these.
So let me ask you this. If an answer is 100% factual and grounded, does that automatically make it useful? Think about it. An answer can be technically correct but still be totally useless if it's a confusing mess or doesn't actually answer your question. And that's exactly why this kind of deep evaluation is so important.
All right, let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture here. Why does all of this matter so much? Because honestly, RAG isn't just a clever trick. It's a fundamental step toward building AI that we can finally, truly rely on.
And look, this isn't just for reading research papers. This is for any application where accuracy and proof are non-negotiable. We're talking about business tools that can give you answers from internal reports, customer service bots that are always up to date, or even powerful assistants in fields like medicine and law where getting it right can change lives. RAG is really the key that's going to unlock these applications safely.
So I'll leave you with this question. If you had an AI that was totally grounded, completely transparent, and 100% trustworthy, what would you build with it? What problem would you solve? It's a fun thing to think about, because thanks to techniques like RAG, those possibilities are just now starting to open up.